Okay, this is the meeting of the Policy and Procedures Committee meeting, and this is Monday, the January the 27th at 5 o'clock. Actually 5:02 now, maybe. And we've taken this call to order. We're gonna take the roll call's been called, and everybody is present. And I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion to approve.
I'll say.
We have a second. Any modifications we need to make to it at all? I don't think we do. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. And public comments, we have any public comments yet? No, I don't have, like I say, I don't like the public comment be now. So if you want to talk, just raise your hand up and we'll get you on. Approval and modify the previous minutes. Has everybody had a chance to read the previous minutes? I have them sitting here somewhere. So we need a motion to approve the previous minutes dated in this December the 16th.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Has been seconded. Any discussion on it? I've read over them. I didn't make the motion because I read these way beforehand, so I was fine with them.
I did read over them. Of course, I'm not quite up to speed because I missed the past couple meetings, so.
So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion approved. So unfinished business, discussion and request was presented on 12/16/24 by the Lanham Library Director Courtney and for Education Assistant Program. Are we ready to, we want to discuss that further right now, or we want to take any action on that tonight? Or we want to hold on that tonight and continue to, we've got some research that has been done on it. We're not finding anybody else that's ever, I think we have not found anything. Is that right, Dal?
I have not found anything. I researched to see if there were other counties that were offering for their library or others educational assistance programs. The only thing I found was that across the board, perhaps Franklin County was in an agreement with Motlow for their employees to be able to take some classes. However, I was unable to get that in my hands. I'm supposed to be getting what they have done and find out a little more about that. But to my knowledge and research, there is not another library, county library, that has an education assistance program.
Okay. Do we want to take any action on this then tonight, or you want to postpone it, or what would you like to do?
I'm not ready to vote for it.
I'm not either.
I know very little about it, so.
Well, I'm gonna say,
I don't know.
I'm gonna just go ahead and make a motion. Let's postpone it for tonight. Let's put it back put it back on the agenda for the next month, so we can do a little bit more research on it, because I have been trying to look at it too. And I kind of ran into the same thing that Dow has discussed, that I can't find anybody else that's doing that. And
So what,
I
I'm just
can't.
curious because, I'm sorry, like I said, I'm just kind of trying to catch up. So what is it that they're proposing? I don't know.
She was wanting to go back for her doctorate
I think so, was.
and wanting the
Okay.
county to do like a pilot program of setting up a educational incentive program where she could be reimbursed for those classes. There wasn't a dollar amount or anything talked about. It was just a request, so the committee, first hearing it was like, we need to study it more.
Sure.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that this is one of them we're gonna be able to put to bed just really quickly.
No.
It's just not.
Well,
That's a big,
Yeah, you're talking about
commitment.
a big
A lot of
commitment
dollars.
and a lot
You're
of,
talking about a doctorate.
yeah.
Sure.
well, because the woman had done some investigating because she had been reimbursed through a library program, on a grant kind of thing. And in order for her to continue, IRS rules kick in, and IRS requires an established education assistance program, and that's how it came to us.
Okay, so it was kind of part of the grant that she was,
Had,
applied
From years
yes,
ago.
had enjoyed before,
It was from it was like from 1997.
from a
wow.
long time
policy.
ago.
Oh, wow.
Was it even in Tennessee?
Well, it was,
I don't
So
remember.
this stems from.
It was
this-
before-
Long
kind of
time
like-
ago.
Yeah.
It was before
okay.
those employees received county benefits. It was something that a policy that the library board
had to,
The library
had
board.
put together.
I see.
their
Oh,
funds
okay.
used to be separate
Right.
from the county.
Gotcha.
And I don't remember if it was a doctorate or a master's or what.
I
it
don't really
was.
remember. I don't know that she
But it
said.
was
So it's stemming from that,
Yeah.
and now
Yes.
it's, okay,
Right.
okay.
And she asked that we look into it. And curiously enough, I got this thing from Trey Hargett that tells about the dollars that have been allocated to libraries. So I think it's probably a good idea that we investigate
Yeah.
further
Yep.
and all.
Well, I'll make an informal motion if I need to do that, just postpone it to the next meeting, so we can keep discussing this, and,
I'll
go from there.
second if you need one.
we have a motion and seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. So we're gonna add that back to the agenda again for next month, but everybody try to look up what you can on it, and we'll come back with that, some kind of decision at some point. Next business item is item number 6.2, which is discussion on the service credit request for 12/16/24. Coffee County Health Department Director came and requested on her vacation accrual. And I know that I've done some research on it about, she presented a letter to us from the Coffee County Health Department that Mr. Pennington, David Pennington, which was county mayor at the time, on December the 1st of 2010, and I'm assuming that that was the start date of the hire date for Ms. McMinn, is that correct? And to work at Coffee County Health Department. So I know Dow has done a lot of research on it, and I'm gonna ask her if you wanna give us what your
Let me
findings
just
is.
give y'all
and-
the
and
rundown.
give her, she give us a rundown on it.
This lady, Miss Catherine McMahon, went to work for health department back in 2003, and she worked 7 years at Warren County. Then she came to us December 1st, 2010, and at that time, she was given credit per this request from Public Health County Coordinator Debbie Broadway, requesting that she be given, when she came on board with us, credit for her 7 years, even though it was with Warren County. That was requested, and it was approved by the then mayor, and it never ended up in the full commission for approval, which is a requirement. And so, but she was given credit for that. And then she's been with us for 14 years. So it came up because she's looking at our employee benefits that say when you get 21 years plus, then your rate changes. And so it amounts to an additional 3 days of vacation leave per year. So we were asked to consider this, And I gathered this information, and so now you all know the story. The lady has 21 years of work, but only 14 with Coffee County. And even though she was given the benefit of these 7 years when she hired on, way back when, in actuality, it was never voted on or approved by the full commission,
And/or by budget and finance.
and/or by budget and finance.
Oh, wow.
The places I have worked for do not do that. It's, each one's on their own. It's not because a certain type of job or a certain place, your policy typically says, day one, you start getting these benefits.
As a new hire.
It's,
And I think that's common.
That's pretty common
Anywhere,
practice.
I mean, you know, if you quit working for the Air Force and go to work for the civilian world, you don't get pay for your past
Yep.
employment history. If anybody has that experience, I'm unaware.
I would just think, as many employees that Coffee County has, I think a level of fairness, you know, I feel like that would be unfair, kinda, in that sense, to the other county employees, you know, that may have done similar things, you know, in their profession. Then I think that would definitely open up to other employees,
And
wanting to
make-
do the same. But,
And
you
make
know,
them go back and ask for a revaluation, you know, if I worked over here.
It's kind of like when I went to work after 20 years, going to the same kind of work, I started all over. They didn't give me credit.
Well, if somebody works for Jeannie for 14 years and then transfers to, you know,
Andy,
another office within the county.
sure, absolutely.
that's different.
Yeah,
Now,
no,
that's different.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
that's a
absolutely.
county employee to a county
Yeah,
employee.
but even like Heather Duncan, that, I mean, I know she
Sure.
didn't get vacation and stuff, but she had 20 years with the county. She transfers to a state office. That doesn't flow with her.
Right,
right.
sure. Or like if I went to another county to work in a clerk's office, then, you know, that wouldn't.
It wouldn't roll with you.
No. So, you know, if she was awarded that at that time, then I think, you know, she was awarded that time, you
She
know,
got
with
the
that.
benefit of
Yeah, if she got the benefit of it, I say, my opinion is leave that alone and just let that be. But as far as the way our schedule, our structure is written out, I think that would cause a lot of unfairness to the other county employees and would open up a.
Well, legally, I'm gonna speak the legally part of it. We cannot change the date of hire.
We would have to
We-
do that to give her 21
To give her
years.
21 years, we would be changing, as a group, we would be changing her date of hire, and that's fraud, folks.
Oh, yeah,
Cannot.
definitely not.
We're not gonna do
Cannot.
that.
Yeah.
Well, like you said earlier, it's not fair to the other employees.
It is not fair that you're absolutely correct. So I don't, does anybody wanna make a motion on what we need to do here, or, I mean, reality is, she started on December the 1st of 2010. She's worked 14 years. I mean, she may be the best employee the whole county has, but reality is she's still in the 14-year group, and I can't change that. I cannot, I don't think, this committee can't change that. I wouldn't recommend us changing that. So, you know, so she's still, to me, in the 11 to 20-year group, which is the 5.19 hours per pay period.
Which is what she's being
Which what
reimbursed
she's
now.
already being
She
reimbursed
currently-
right now. And yes, did she get something extra in the beginning there? Yes, she did. Now, that's not the fault of this committee. The fault was done by the previous administration. That, even though a mayor signs something like this document, even if the mayor today would sign something like this document, he can sign it, but it still would have had to gone through budget and finance. It would have first, and then it would have had to go through full commission. That's just the way our is set up. And if that would have happened back then, that would have probably been okay. But reality still is, she hired in on 2010. She still only, that's her hire date. We can't change that by law.
No.
I'm not.
No.
I'm not.
No.
No.
So, I'm gonna make a recommendation that we, go back and if we need to document it, that her time start date was, December the 1st, 2010, and her accrual is the 5.19, and she just got a benefit more than what other people got. She really did. She got more than other people got, and I hate that for the other people, but she got lucky. That's all I can say.
Well, I mean,
And
and,
got it.
and at this time, I mean, that was, like you said, that was.
Done by a
that
previous
was
administration.
That's
Out of our
hands
control.
at that
14
time,
years
yeah,
ago.
Right.
So, but to fix it, we're just gonna have to, she's gonna have to know that it's, the 2010 is her start date.
The record should stand, and Heather, you can substantiate that that is accurate. Her start date with Coffee County is 1
Yes.
December.
Her,
So,
the payroll
no.
says she has been with Colby County 14 years.
So, no. We
Yeah,
cannot,
that-
no.
Yeah, I feel like
we're
you
not.
have to go with
No.
that, yeah.
Absolutely.
So, do we need a motion then?
I don't know that there is
I don't know.
one
Does there a
necessary.
motion have to be made for this thing?
I mean,
I
if you're
just
not
think
making any changes.
We're not making any change, we cannot change this. I mean, it is what it is, and she just had to, I hate it for her. I can say she's just, she's blessed because she got something more, but we can't go and change it. And I would never sit there and try to change something like a hire date. Because then I stick a gun to my head because I just committed political suicide.
You did.
And that would affect more than just
Everybody.
vacation,
Oh, it's gonna,
Oh,
it
that-
would
oh,
change
that-
everything.
yeah.
retirement.
It's everything. It
Sure,
changes
yeah.
everything. It
It
just,
would.
it's a domino effect and we can't do that. So that's where our opinion's gonna have to stand at on this matter. Agreed?
I agree.
agree.
I agree.
Everybody agree?
I agree.
That's 100% agree that we need to leave it at this point, okay? All right, let's move on then.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I just want to go ahead and thank the committee for reviewing this and for bringing this. My employee asked me to see, if I can bring it to the table, and so I just, doing this for our employee, but I will go ahead and let her know, and we'll move forward.
Well, we did dig, so we
And-
dug,
and she
we dug
did-
as far as we could dig and,
She did get what the letter requested. She
Yeah.
got that up front, but now on top of that,
Right. And I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for looking into it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for standing up for your employees.
Well, sure.
Doing what I can.
Yep.
Yes.
Item number,
Yes, ma'am.
let's go ahead and move on then. Item number 7.1 EMS Chief Michael Bonner, is he gonna be here?
He's not
He's
here.
not here, but I sat through a presentation from Health and Welfare of what he's wanting to talk about.
Well, it's on our agenda, we can talk about it, but.
Yeah, we
he's
won't do
not here to
anything.
Yeah, we can't.
We didn't do anything there either.
But
Okay,
he's not here to present.
yeah, we wanna go ahead and leave.
you want to talk about
You
his
wanna give us,
presentation?
you wanna give us, you
If
wanna
I
give us
can
the,
remember it accurately,
Well,
he
it actually
basically,
is it's gonna affect, there needs to be a revision, I guess, to the whole administrative closing policy, yet again, for the first responders and how they're paid during administrative closings.
well,
they don't receive comp time.
the whole
EMS does
problem
not,
gets
no.
back to like it's anything that's 24-hour days work. When you get right down to it, you can't close emergency services and things like that, and that's the difference. Policy basically is written primarily for 300 other people that go from 7:30 to 4:30.
Right.
So,
Well, other departments during this time would just, the other emergency departments would just put down, if they worked 8 hours, they would put down 8 hours, 12 hours, 12 hours. The EMS never has turned in anything for administrative closing, which would have been 24 comp hours. I've looked, most counties do not do anything for administrative closing for their first responders. Because they're
They're hired on for that,
24/7,
right.
365. So this is a benefit that they're getting from the county to, you know, get additional hours worked when the offices are closed, administrative offices are closed. And I think if we're going to do it and continue to do it, it should be 8 hours. Just
For
like
everybody.
everybody, all of your first responders. Instead of giving 12 hours or 24 hours of comp time, because that's just gonna make it harder for the departments when these people, that's just giving them more hours to take off. I mean,
Sure,
it's harder to staff, especially for EMS.
yeah.
And the old policy states that, it would be comp time. I think either way, if we do it comp time or if we pay it out, it's still liability to the county. If you put it as comp time, it could be even more at payout. So I think it should be 8 hours of straight time pay, and they're paid, that payroll. They're just paid for their 8 hours, if they worked the shift. And then also, I think it should state the entire shift must begin on the day the administrative closing is in effect in order to receive the additional pay. Because I have the comm center say, they have 3 shifts. So there was questions, the employees that go in from 11 to 7, okay, they get off at 7 o'clock that morning that the administrative closing begins. They're not working that whole day. So they shouldn't receive the pay, the extra additional pay, because they technically did not work that day. Now, the employees that worked from 7 to 3 and 3 to 11 on that Friday that we're closed, they should receive it. I mean, I just think your shift should begin on the day the administrative closing is in effect. We had issue with that this time also.
Of course, when you're talking about the ambulance, you're talking about, they're nearly always in overtime.
Yes.
And that just pushes it worse
I know.
when you're paying people for not doing anything different. Then getting the overtime is just harder.
But EMS, EMS has never accrued comp time. They accrue sick and vacation, but they do not accrue comp time.
But they get overtime.
Yes.
Well, Bonner had said, well, if I do this, if this happens, basically, I'm paying somebody else to come in when they take comp time. I
I
thought,
know.
well, either way you do it.
We're losing.
It's the same money, isn't it?
Exactly.
Whether it's that employee or the one you bring in. But I didn't understand, he didn't seem to think that way.
Well, I think no matter what, the policy ought to be, if the county shut down for 8 hours, then that should be the max. I don't see any policy that should pay them 24 hours.
Well, in a shift like Heather was talking about, if you're already working half a day, I'd think you'd only get the half, not the whole 8 hours.
Right.
But then you're gonna have to have a start time. Like administrative closing is your administrative offices. We do not open till 8. So that's when it officially would go into effect. And some of these employees, they're getting off like 911, they get off at 7. They work from 11 to 7. So they're off before our offices even open. But most of your first responders, they work no less than 8 hours. They're 40-hour employees, so.
Well, I'm not real fond of, because they had a 12-hour shift or a 24-hour shift or whatever, and others don't have that they would get even more.
No.
I mean, they're reporting in there because they have to.
They have no,
right?
I mean,
So,
yeah, they have no
so-
choice. I mean, they
So
have
I
to
guess
be
I'm
there.
having a hard time understanding because,
We need him here to explain.
yeah, well,
I
because
mean, you
they're,
know,
they're
we can't
already
do
reporting
anything.
in, so are they asking for extra?
Well,
on-
we
on
do,
the
I
days
mean,
that
we
they're-
do pay them extra already.
Okay.
Well, we pay the sheriff's department.
It's EMS, EMA, Sheriff Department, EMS, and the comm center. Is the way this is the current policy here.
Can you, have you got one copy for everybody?
Yeah,
So everybody can have one?
that's the current
the-
administrative closing
The thing where,
policy.
the fact that we're losing is, I believe that the mayor closes the county justice center administrative plaza, not for the employees,
It's for the
but
citizens.
for
For
the
the
citizens not to come on site, slip and fall.
That's a lot of the reason why. I
Yes,
did it.
and
Yeah.
it's almost like other departments are thinking we're getting a benefit that they're not, but we have no choice in the matter. I would be here no matter what, if
Yeah.
the public, if we were open. So, I mean,
In a lot of counties, they do not have a closing like this. They say, if you can make it, make it.
Right.
If you can't, then you'll have to
use
use
vacation or
accrued
comp time.
leave
Well,
time,
that's where
Exactly.
I
vacation or
worked.
comp.
Yeah,
There
Well, it
was
wasn't
no,
ours.
we never closed.
no.
Or
Right,
you didn't get paid. If you don't have comp time or vacation time or sick leave, you just got lost.
Well, our policy was if an employee
just
could
like
not
the-
come in, they
This
either
is
took
recommended or
vacation
what I was talking about. Copy.
or, somebody got them, brought them in.
I
You
know
want
that
to
I know when we,
Down.
not this year, but the last year, when we closed, and we were open and, you know, the roads were still terrible. I know that as the office as large as mine is, if I'm half staff, or even less than half, you know, even less than that, it's really hard for me to operate. You know,
Yeah.
if I don't have enough people to run the office. I run into a major hardship there because I can't do it all. There's 5 departments in my office. I can't. But
I think anytime you have an event, the public, everybody else is gonna cut way back.
sure, sure. I mean,
No, the current policy is this one.
This
The-
is
The
current.
recommendation for the
This one.
change
This
is the
one. Okay.
highlighted, yeah.
Okay.
Or this just like a, idea.
And this is
I
what
mean,
the
I do really
gentleman is
appreciate the way that it
recommending.
is set up. you
Chief
know,
Bonner is
now, but,
recommending it.
Well, not chief,
related to
not
this,
really,
but-
he's not recommending it, we just had an issue, this last payroll of how his people were going to receive pay, because they they don't get comp time. There was a question, are they just gonna get 24 hours added to vacation? No, because vacation and comp are 2 separate leaves. So we really didn't know what to do because it didn't say in the policy that we could pay them. It just says comp time. So
but up until this time, had they gotten it
they've never
before?
turned anything in before.
Okay, so this was the first time.
The way I read this highlighted area, most employees are 8 hours, they're getting straight time. In a lot of cases, other people are gonna be getting overtime.
But that's her revision. That's
Yeah.
I
not the
say,
policy.
Yeah.
if we do this,
Oh,
it's still not covering what I'm asking. If we decide to do this, are you gonna do 8 hours of overtime?
No,
Or are you gonna do regular time?
be straight time.
I think
It says straight.
it says
Okay.
straight time.
Yeah, it's
Says
For,
straight.
for even the EMS people?
Yes.
Right.
Okay,
Everyone would get
I
just
think
8
that would be
hours.
fair.
And that's a benefit.
Right.
That's not,
Because we don't get any, we
Right.
get paid,
Sure.
but we're
we
not
get the
getting.
day,
Yeah.
basically.
I start saying they don't have to show up either.
Yeah, we get the day.
I know when we wrote this, okay, or this one. When we first wrote this, we knew this was a step.
Yeah.
And we said we're probably gonna have to come back.
And do it, yep.
And do it, work on it again, and we are, which is fine. And so I think everybody just take this with you, since we can't make a real decision on it tonight. And look over it, and if you're good with it, make your recommendations on our next meeting. We'll address this on the next meeting.
I'd like to talk about
But go ahead.
something else. When we have an item like this, it initially came before Health and Welfare. And then there was question about legislative. And I'm thinking, who really needs to be seeing about this? Because it kind of overlaps in some of this
Once we
stuff.
if we pass it on, like where it goes from here, is that?
It would have to come to this
Eventually, it's gonna
because
go to
a
the full
policy.
commission. It
Right,
doesn't
but
really
I mean,
matter.
but are you talking about which committee does it go?
What's the
once
next
it
step?
leaves us?
Who should it even start with? We've got 2 or
Well,
maybe 3 committees.
it started at
that
your
are
committee.
somewhat involved in an issue like this.
Well, it started at HR committee, right? Yeah.
That's because somebody told Bonner to come, basically.
Does he,
So-
but does he report to he don't report to y'all, your committee, does he?
No,
Ambulance authority,
No.
he
I don't
reports
even-
to ambulance
He
authority.
should've came to us.
And he was
Okay,
on
yeah,
the
so it
Any
agenda.
started
policy-
in that committee. I guess that's where I
He
was
probably just
getting
was
confused, cause you've
and I was
already
sitting
heard
there
this
going,
one, so
I'm
yeah.
not even sure
I
who's
talked with him
supposed to
and
be
that's
saying
why
about
he's on the
this.
agenda.
He should've came to us.
Yeah,
This policy was wrote by us, and the policy, anytime you're doing a policy change, it's gonna have to come back through us. After it goes from us, we, if it's something like this one, is it gonna have to go to the legislative committee? Yes, it will, because we're changing policy.
because that's typically
We
what
did
we
that.
always do, right?
We
When-
send it on to
Yeah.
now, there's some things that you don't have to send to legislative, which is fine. But
Well,
this
that's what
one,
I'm trying to
this would
figure
be
out.
one of those that you have to take the steps. It has to go through us, legislative committee, and once, if legislative committee is fine with it, they'll send it back to us approved, and we send it to full commission. That's how
That
we've
would
done
be
it.
creating a new policy, right?
That's if we make a change, policy change, or creating a new
yeah.
policy, any of those items.
So it typically starts with us.
Yes.
Should start with us.
Okay.
And since we're talking about this, longevity pay is gonna be hitting us next. I'm just gonna throw this out here because I had, one of the commissioners sit there and talk about longevity pay the other night, and he wants us to look at, changing the longevity pay to include, temporary employees. Don't make a comment on it right now, cause I just know what you just, I read faces. So, but just think about that, because this is coming at us, and I have my opinion, but I cannot give you that right now. So, we'll discuss, that'll be on our agenda next meeting, because I didn't get it on here tonight,
Did you
because they
say
did not give me a
temporary or part-time? What'd you say?
They're temporary employees,
Temporary.
That seems like a no-brainer to
or
me.
part-time.
Or
Temporary
part-time.
or
Oh,
part-time
so temporary
employees.
and part-time,
Yeah.
both, okay.
And I know I've been delayed getting the vacation and sick changes, not changes, but, that we were talking about previous meetings, but I will have that back on the next meeting also. I got some feedback from a department head that was not at all thinking kind of the same direction of what I was kind of thinking, looking at some other counties, so, I'm reviewing what they thought, and I'll bring all that,
Okay.
updating the vacation, sick time, and the policy. But I want to talk to some other departments also before that.
Well, if anybody brings anything to you, I'm just telling you, every one of you, if anybody brings anything to you and wants it put on our agenda, just take that information and forward it to Heather or me, and we'll get it put on there. Cause that's the way we communicate a little easier that way. Cause my phone's always on, as I've been well aware of it here lately, cause meeting tomorrow night. So, I'm glad everybody could attend that. So that's about all I have. Does anybody have anything else?
I do.
Go ahead.
Our calendar shows that our next meeting is on President's Day.
February?
Are we closed that day? I never know, I've never had a day off.
Yes,
I'll defer to Miss Jeannie here.
I have it on my calendar that we are.
Tuesday the 18th?
We-
I think I marked it.
I think we marked, we were supposed to change that to Tuesday, the 18th.
Oh, did we? Okay. Did I not
'Cause
get
think we had-
that?
Well, I think we kind of talked about that one before I left them on my trip. But yeah, I think we tried to address it, because I knew it was President's Day.
I do have a
Okay.
meeting
If
for
we
health
did,
and
I
welfare on that day.
apologize, because I
Time is
didn't pick up on what we
It's
changed
always
it
gonna be
to.
about
I think
5
the
o'clock.
date is
Let me
correct
look.
here,
Yep,
just the
Nope.
day is
Okay.
not. So
I
we
got it
just
at 6 o'clock.
Next day,
Yeah.
okay.
It is
Because, I mean, we're
actually
not-
the
we shouldn't run
Tuesday
that
is the
long.
18th.
You
Okay.
good?
So you're gonna put it down at 5 o'clock?
5 o'clock.
So,
Is everybody
okay.
good at 5 o'clock?
Mm-hmm.
On Tuesday, the 18th. Now, that should be all of our,
We just moved it over.
instead of instead of the
Okay.
Monday, it should be a Tuesday, the 18th.
Okay.
I got it now.
I'm sorry if I didn't pick up on mine.
Thought I had two tonight, but
I didn't
that was a-
realize
that
we
was a-
finalized it.
I was really, that's a good eye, that's a good thing to discuss, cause a lot of times I would miss that when it was a holiday, when it falls
I
on a
got a new,
holiday.
got me a new one, so keeping track a little better.
well, my calendar shows it, but it didn't mean anything to me. I've never had it.
There you go.
I've never had Martin Luther
Yeah.
King,
Yeah, I know.
a bunch of them.
All right, we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made to adjourn.
I'll second that.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Go get your warm blankets out. It's gonna be cold again
I
tonight.
know, I want it to be gone.
It's gonna be warming up.